Lander with BlueSkyHome.com and welcome to the Painter-thon. I'm so excited to be a part of this event. You're going to be seeing some awesome projects today, and I can't wait to show you what I'm doing. My project is this console table. This used to belong to my mother-in-law. It was in her living room, and when she was moving into an apartment, it was one of the pieces of furniture that Sweet Shark and I said we'd love to have. It originally was a very dark brownish. It had some orange in it, stained finish, typical of the 1950s, 60s. I actually took off the handle to show you this was a little bit of the original finish. When we moved in our home, I decided to paint it. And as you can see, I painted it kind of a light brownish. I added some white detail here, kind of did a chippy farmhouse look, and I want to change it. So my plan is to paint it completely white, and then we are going to add a stained top to it. Before you start painting any piece of furniture, a frame, whatever that you have, you need to clean it, because all furniture is going to have wax buildup, dirt, grime, even from your finger prints. And when pieces of furniture have those things on them, paint does not adhere correctly. So in order to get rid of that wax and grime and grease buildup, we want to use a product like Clean Slate. Clean Slate is from Amy Howard at Home. I have used it multiple times, and this easily gets rid of all those waxy buildup and grease that you want to remove. So you're going to need a rag, and I'm just going to open my can, and I'm going to use this on the drawer front. I took off the original handle. We're going to replace that with a new handle, and just kind of saturate your rag and just rub it all over your furniture. You don't do this with unpainted wood, only for painted or stained wood. And then just keep turning over your rag to pick up all that wax buildup. What I'm going for in this new look is to match as closely as possible our white kitchen cabinets. I love white kitchen cabinets. It's just such a clean, crisp, classic look. In order to get this look, I'm going to be using One Step paint from Amy Howard at Home. I absolutely love this paint. It is one step. That doesn't mean one coat. I know I will be giving the table 2 coats. This is a pleasure to use. It has no scent, no bad smell to it. It covers beautifully, it goes on beautifully. And the color that I'm going to be using is Bauhaus Buff. Normally when you are using One Step paint, you do not have to sand your piece of furniture. You don't have to strip anything. You don't even have to prime anything. That's one of the beauties of this paint. However, when I first painted this drawer, I painted it with the handle on it. So I can feel that there's a little ridge right here. So I don't want that. So I'm going to use just some light sandpaper and just smooth that down. To get rid of that paint ridge. I should have taken the handle off before I painted, but I guess I was a little impatient at the time. And okay, and I'm just going to take a lint-free rag and just wipe that down to get rid of any dust. Okay, I have my Bauhaus Buff. open your can, you want to give it a really good shake. And then I just use a can opener a lot. So I'm going to show you using the front of the console table. I just dip about a ½ inch of paint onto my brush. This is a Maker Studio brush, and I love these brushes. And we're going to first do the drawer, and I'm going to do the sides. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and take my drawer out and just set it up here. And starting with the grain, I don't know if you can see, but I do have a drop cloth. See how that covered already? Just going across there one time, covered where the stain was. I do have a drop cloth on the floor. The great thing about this paint is that there's no VOCs, there's no bad odor, so you can do all your painting inside. And I'll give it just a little bit of a coat on the top. Okay, I'm going to set that back. I didn't tell you that we put a wood top, just raw wood, on top of this console table because it originally had where in the center of the table it had a piece of marble, and on each end it had a kind of a metal insert where you could put, I guess, faux flowers. Like I said, this piece came from the 50s or 60s, and I guess that was really popular. So we had a piece of wood cut to fit the top of the console table. We screwed it in so that we have a solid surface. Okay, so just going to go across here. You always want to paint with the grain, and you want to paint from wet to dry. This paint leaves almost no streaks or paintbrush streaks. Paint. And I'm going to go across here. There's no need to paint the top of this raw piece of wood, as you'll see as we continue. And I don't know how well you can tell. As I said, I'm going to give this 2 coats. But the coverage already is really phenomenal. Okay, I have given the entire table 1 coat of 1-step paint, and you can see how it covers, but like I said, it's always that second coat of paint that just kind of where the magic happens. Believe me, I did paint the back side. I'm not cheating. So I wanted to show you, we're going to start with the drawer and give it a second coat. Just a little bit on the top. And I didn't do the sides, so I'm going to do them now. Okay, I'm going to set that back, and I'm just going to let you watch me paint for a little bit. I'm going to paint the front first, and then I'm going to paint the shelf next. 1-step paint takes about 20-30 minutes to dry between coats, so this is a project that can be done in a day. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to wait hours and hours for the paint to dry. So I'm going to start right here with my second coat. Our console table has been completely painted and it is dry. Using 1-step paint from Amy Howard at Home. I love the fresh, white, crisp color of it. It's a much better look to go with our kitchen cabinets. Because we use the bottom shelf to display different kind of bowls, sometimes a tray, I want to make sure that it is sealed with a coat of wax. The other area that I want to wax is the front of the drawer because it always also gets wear and tear on it. It's not necessary to wax the rest of the table. I might give the front a little bit of coat of wax, but we'll see. So what I'm going to be using is Mine Your Own Beeswax from Amy Howard at Home. This is like putting butter, softened butter, on your furniture. It goes on so much more easily, and it dries more quickly, and you don't have to wait hours and hours and hours for it to cure. So I'm just going to apply a little too. See how it just kind of comes out almost like whipped butter. And we'll start here on the drawer front, and just in circular motions, you can go up and down. I'm going to apply a little to the top of the drawer and to the sides, and I think that'll help it when we pull the drawers in and out too. You can see how easily it goes on. It's just a great product. I love it so much better than the thick, heavy waxes. And when this dries, after about 30 minutes or so, I'll come back and buff it. Now, the longer you let the wax set before you buff it, the more protection it'll give. So you could wait a few hours, you could wait overnight if you wanted, but it's not necessary. And it will dry to a really pretty satin patina when it's done. So now we are back, and I get to show you what the tabletop is going to be for our new kitchen table. So let me tell you a little bit about the background because I can't really show you how we made this. It's a little bit too heavy for me to flip over, but there's plenty of pictures at blueskyathome.com that you can go and see the process of how we made this tabletop. As I said at the beginning, I wanted it dark stained top to reflect our hardwood floors. So I hate to say how long ago this was, but 2 years ago, I went to Lowe's and I had them cut me 3 pieces of, I believe these are 1.5 by 6 inch wide pieces of pine, but they were kind of very finished pine. I did have to sand them a little bit, and at that time I did stain them individually, and they just sat here loose on this table for 2 years. At that time I stained them. Now I am not a big fan of staining. I don't like to stain because most stains are oil-based, they smell, they're hard to clean up your brushes. I just don't like to stain. But when I was introduced to Amy Howard at Home and a Maker Studio 2 years ago, I discovered gel stain. And this is a water-based stain, and they're so easy to use. Now I love them. And since that time, 2 years ago, I have stained our patio table. I have stained 3 other patio tables, and they have held up unbelievably well outside in the elements because our patio furniture is only covered by an awning, so it's really subject to the elements. I recently stained our front door, and it's just an amazing product, and I love it. So gel stain, as I said, is water-based. It has no odors. In fact, it actually smells pretty good. It goes on so easily. So the color that I used originally on these boards is hazel mahogany, and it's a really rich color. It almost looks like coffee, and it's just so easy to use. This is 1 jar, and it has already stained these boards. It stained our patio table, and it has stained 3 or 4 other side tables outside on our patio, and I probably have 1/3 of a container left. So originally I stained these, and they just sat loose boards on the top of the table for 2 years. And then finally, a couple months ago, we attached the boards together. And on the blog, as I said, are pictures that show you the process that we went through. But I can tell you, this top is not going anywhere. So it did two things. It aesthetically matched the hardwood floors, and it also gave me another 1.5 inches of height on this table. So what I'm going to do, I've already shaken and stirred the jar up, and I'm going to use this brush. You can see the color, and now we're going to give it, after 2 years, it's getting a second coat. Okay? And it's not that it's worn. I just thought it would help more aesthetically than anything else. But see how that it goes on so easily. It just goes on beautifully. And I couldn't do this if this were not a water-based gel stain. And I know I need to reach over here and do the edge. And you can see what a rich color. I believe the gel stain comes in, I'll say 6 to 8 colors. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back and seal it with our matte sealer. So while my coat of gel stain is drying, I'm ready to buff my wax, my Mind Your Own Beeswax that I put on. It's actually been about 2 hours since I applied it and applied the gel stain. So I can rub my hand here and feel how smooth it is. So I'm just going to take a clean rag and basically buffing it. You're just, giving it some elbow grease. So really tell, you don't want any tackiness after you buff your wax. And so now we'll do the shelf, even, and put my drawer back in. I have a new piece of hardware ordered, and hopefully it will be here soon. So the last step is to apply our matte sealer, and I'll be back to do that after our gel stain is completely dry. So look at our beautiful tabletop. This is with 2 coats of hazel mahogany. I cannot tell you how much I love this. It's been a day since we did this, just we're doing other things. So now we're going to seal the top of the table. Sometimes you just need a sealer coat to give your surface extra protection. Since this is a tabletop that does get a lot of wear and tear, we take things out of the oven and we set them here. Sometimes I'll do a seasonal vignette on top of this. So what I'm going to use to seal it is our matte sealer from a Maker Studio. And this is a sealer that is designed for painted or stained surfaces. Last summer I did all our patio tables outside. They get rained on, they get the sun on them, and this sealer has really protected them. When I did our front door back in the summer, it also got 2 coats of matte sealer. So this is, as you can kind of see, this is kind of a milky white, basically. And I've shaken it up really well. This is actually a brand new jar. And I'm just going to use the same brush that I used to apply our gel stain. The gel stains and the matte sealer are washable, just a little soap and water, and all your brushes and anything else that you have gotten them on is going to come clean. So we're going to be giving this 2 coats. The first coat, we're just going to brush on, and you'll notice that it goes on with a milky white look, but as it dries, it turns clear. Okay, and you can see where it's already started to dry that it has turned clear. So what we are going to do is let this dry for about an hour. And then I'm going to come back and lightly sand it with about a 220 grit sandpaper. And then I'm going to give it another coat of matte sealer and let it sit up to 24 hours. Okay. Well, I am back with our finished kitchen island / console table. As you can see, it has a totally different look. It's almost a farmhouse look, but what I love is the crisp white base and the dark stained top. Now we can use this to set things on. Usually on the top, I like to have something pretty. This shelf, I always keep decorative things there with bowls or trays. For right now, it has several pieces of chinoiserie that I've bought in the last several months at estate sales, which I just love. So I love how this turned out. And it was a long time coming, too long, but the supplies that I used is on blueskyathome.com, which I hope you'll drop by and see. So thank you so much for being here for this painter-a-thon. Be sure and see the other projects that the other makers have shared with you. Thank you so much. We really enjoy having you, and I'll see you next time.